Hey, what's up, stock compounders? Brad here. So today we continue our Charlie Munger Psychology of Human Misjudgment series with the third tendency that can lead to bias and misjudgment, which is disliking, hating tendency. I've pulled up here a blog post from Farnham Street. I'm not going to read through it, but I'll link to it in the description if you want to go a little bit deeper into this third tendency. But really quickly, I'm going to read through what has been written in Poor Charlie's Almanac on this particular bias. And then we're going to jump to our favorite artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, and see what it says about how to combat this tendency. So from Poor Charlie's Almanac. In a pattern obverse to liking loving tendency, the newly arrived human is also born to dislike and hate, as triggered by normal and abnormal triggering forces in its life. It is the same with most apes and monkeys. As a result, the long history of man contains almost continuous war. For instance, most American Indian tribes warred incessantly, and some tribes would occasionally bring captives home to women so that all could join in the fun of torturing captives to death. Even with the spread of religion and the advent of advanced civilization, much modern war remains pretty savage. But we also get what we observe in present-day Switzerland and the United States, wherein the clever political arrangements of man channel the hatreds and dislikings of individuals and groups into non-lethal patterns, including elections. This was sort of a aha moment for me. You see on the right and left the hatred, right, towards the other side. Is this planned as a way to funnel the hatred into something that's more controllable? Very interesting. But the dislikings and hatreds never go away completely. Born into man, these driving tendencies remain strong. Thus, we get maxims like the one from England. Politics is the art of marshalling hatreds. And we also get the extreme popularity of very negative political advertising in the United States. At the family level, we often see one sibling hate his other siblings and litigate with them endlessly if he can afford it. Indeed, a wag named Buffett has repeatedly explained to me that a major difference between rich and poor people is that the rich people can spend their lives suing their relatives. My father's law practice in Omaha was full of such intra-family hatreds. And when I got to the Harvard Law School and its professors taught me property law with no mention of sibling rivalry in the family business, I appraised the school as a pretty unrealistic place that wore blinders like the milk wagon horses of yore. My current guess is that sibling rivalry has not yet made it into property law as taught at Harvard. Disliking hating tendency also acts as a conditioning device that makes the disliker hater tend to 1. Ignore virtues in the object of dislike. 2. Dislike people, products, and actions merely associated with the object of his dislike. And 3, distort other facts to facilitate hatred. Distortion of that kind is often so extreme that miscognition is shockingly large. This is where the distortion comes in. When the World Trade Center was destroyed, many Pakistanis immediately concluded that the Hindus did it, while many Muslims concluded that the Jews did it. Such factual distortions often make mediation between opponents locked in hatred either difficult or impossible. Mediations between Israelis and Palestinians are difficult because facts in one side's history overlap very little with facts from the other sides. Okay, so you have this massive distortion in your perception of reality based on this hatred. So that's what we've got from Poor Charlie's Almanac. Again, I'm not going to go through this Farnham Street article, but it kind of goes down some different rabbit holes around this disliking, hating tendency. But I asked ChatGPT, I'll move this over here, give examples of how a disliking, hating tendency can lead to bad decisions and give antidotes to combat this tendency. Disliking or hating something or someone can cause us to make poor decisions based on emotion rather than reason. Here are some examples of how this tendency can lead to bad decisions. Number one, hiring decisions. If a hiring manager dislikes a candidate based on their appearance, accent, or other superficial characteristics, they may pass over a qualified candidate for someone who is a poor fit for the role. The antidote: hiring managers should use structured interview processes that focus on job-related competencies rather than personal characteristics. They should also strive to recognize and overcome any biases they may have. Number two, investment decisions. If an investor hates a particular industry or company, they may be biased against investing in it, even if it is a good financial opportunity. Antidote: investors should be aware of their biases and make investment decisions based on objective analysis of financial metrics and market conditions. So as much as possible, seeing those biases, which is why this series has been created, right? That's why I'm making this video series, so we can get a sense, what are the biases that we're susceptible to? Because if we don't know what they are, we can't identify them and try to, make rational decisions and exclude biases from the process as much as possible. Legal decisions. If a judge dislikes a particular defendant or lawyer, they may be more likely to rule against them, regardless of the merits of the case. The antidote: judges should recuse themselves from cases where they have a personal bias or conflict of interest. They should also be trained in bias recognition and mitigation. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say before. Bias recognition, right? That's what we're doing here. Number four, relationship decisions. If a person dislikes their partner's friend or family member, they may pressure their partner to cut ties, causing strain on the relationship. Now, I actually have a personal history with this. I had a friend in college, and she was dating this guy. I really didn't think he was a good fit for her, and I expressed that to her, and I'm not in contact with her anymore. So, and that happens all the time it's even harder when it happens with family members, right? You have family members that just get cut out because they've spoken against maybe a marriage decision, something like that. So be aware that, that this can really cause problems. The antidote: people should strive to recognize and overcome their personal biases and work on communication and conflict resolution skills in their relationships. To some, in general, the antidote to combating the negative effects of disliking or hating tendency is to practice mindfulness and self-awareness. By being aware of our biases and emotional reactions, we can work to overcome them and make more reasoned and objective decisions. We can also seek out diverse perspectives and challenge our own assumptions to broaden our understanding of the world around us. Okay? So very powerful stuff here. Thank you, ChatGPT. And that's all I got for this one, guys. We're gonna keep rolling with the series. We've hit the third bias, the third in the Psychology of Human Misjudgment series. There are 25. Okay, so we are just getting warmed up. With that, I will see you all in the next one. Take care.